Hi, I'm Chris. I do most of the graphics for Extend Mode, and we're working on a game called Eight Dragons at the moment. I've decided that I would attempt to show you something of what might be I don't know, a process that I have for creating the graphics. What we have at the moment are a bunch of levels that can be walked through and you beat a bunch of people up. Basically then what I'm looking to do now is I have this level here, which is an office approach. Effectively, we're going to go into this building here after you've finished this level. You'll come into here, which is the building foyer. Now, after you've gone through the building's foyer, you'll go into the lift. There's going to be a corridor, and then after the corridor, there's going to be an office for this fella. He's Mr. Big. He is the boss in the whole office complex of levels. He walks around a bit like that. And I'm going to be drawing it on this empty canvas here. Now I don't know exactly how it's going to look. It's an office. It should probably have a desk. This office has got some plants in, so I might, well the foyer's got some plants in, so I might put some plants in. The scale and theme need to be quite similar to this, I guess. The walls might end up being identical. Some of the decoration probably is going to be quite identical. Maybe there'll be some abstract paintings in the background, something like that. And we'll probably reuse the computer monitors and keyboard. The scale will be the same in any event. So I guess we'll get started. Now, I'm not certain what the floor is going to be like. I think probably some kind of carpet. But the first thing I need to do is determine where the midline for the level is going to be. Now, all of the levels have got the same midline, and that is at what? That's at 74 pixels. I think that's about right. 74 pixels down. 74, 72, 74. Let's call it 74. And so what I'll do is I'll create a layer for the midline so I know where it is. I'll call it midline. That's our midline layer. I'll just draw it in some color, probably bright green. Probably good for that. And at around 74, there we go. I'll pop a line across, and there's approximately our midline. I'll just test that that's exactly right by grabbing a chunk of this level and dropping it in. That looks about right to me. Yeah, cool. Actually, I'll bring it up to 73, I think. Wrong tool. 73 pixels. Groovy. Right, so I'm going to need a floor layer. And I'm going to need a walls layer. That's a good place to start. Now, on this leading wall, we'll need a door in. I think possibly a window on the wall on the other side. Now, as you'll notice, because I'm using a kind of quasi-isometric view, the smaller rooms, so if we look at this is a smaller level. The smaller levels come in at 45 degrees on either side, whereas the bigger levels are just 45 degrees all the way along. The direction of the 45 degrees is somewhat random. It's to the left or to the right. Traditional walk along beat 'em ups have this kind of thing going on, so I figure I'll keep with that. So what I'm going to need to do is come in at 45 from either side on the walls level. I'll start at least with having the same color walls as I have in this level, so I'll just grab that color. Let's get 45 from each edge, 45 degrees. You can tell it's 45 degrees because you've got one in, one across as you go, and then we'll just come up like that. In fact, I'll just bring that 1 pixel more there so that we're dead on the midline, and I'll fill that up, and I'll do the same on the other side. "45 degrees looks like that." And we go up and we fill it up. Right, so we have something of perspective going on there. I'll probably use the same back wall color to imply lighting. Let's just do that. Just grab that in there, that works. And we turn that midline off for the second. So as you can see, we've got a sense of depth going into this level. Do you know what? That isn't going to quite cut it, because anything that's in the foreground, say the desk, is going to be on the midline, much like it is here. You see the desk is on the midline. So I'm going to want to drag the wall up a bit, and if I look at this one, the perspective has this wall coming to about, what, 56 pixels down. So I should probably do the same thing. Let's cut some of this out and do this again down to 56 pixels. 56. I'm at 63 now. 56. There we go. And what that means is I can actually open out the walls slightly, and you know, they don't need to actually start in the corners. This one starts a bit earlier than the corner this side, a bit earlier than the corner that side too, but equally it could start further up. We're just trying to create a space, so I'll just use my polygon cutting tool and grab that out at 45 degrees. Just sort of grab that and get rid of it. That's not quite right, but I'll sort that out in a second. Just delete that. Let's get a line tool and just add that back in. Now, honestly, I have no idea what the floor is going to look like, but we'll probably put in a placeholder floor to start with. I suspect this chap's likely to have a blue carpet. It's a business building, so it'll be a sort of faded to grey blue. Let's start with a blue. Let's get a bit grayer. Kind of, yeah, about there seems appropriate. We go onto the floor layer, shove that in. Okay, now we've got a box. We've got some depth in there, but now we need to turn the midline back on so I can see where my office furniture is going to sit. This whole area here then becomes the playing area, where you'll walk around and attempt to defeat Mr. Big. We can shove him in for scale, just so we can see what he looks like. Let's just shove a layer in here and pop him in. There we go. And that's kind of how big he is for scale. We might want to shove in the player character. He's actually a smaller player, a smaller character, one of the player characters than Mr. Big. Mr. Big, being a boss, is quite large. I'm going to have a drink. Just for scale, so we can see what we're playing with here. So I'll this chap's about the same size as a player character, but you know, it's an odd frame. Let's open something more useful. Okay, we've got some player characters. Let's go with the standard hero, and let's get his walking cycle up. So there's our standard hero. Here's his walk cycle. let's pop him in. So he's a bit smaller, as you can see. Excuse me, if we just pop him into a more appropriate, where am I going? Oh yeah, position. Yeah, you can see he's a bit smaller than the big boss. But now we've got an idea how big we want things in this level. Right. Now he's going to need a desk. I don't know what kind of desk we're going to draw. Possibly a big traditional wooden desk. He is the boss after all. It might have some things on it, but effectively we're just really looking at a desk, and we'll put in some forced perspective just to see how that goes. So let's get a desk layer in. Now the desk sits between the floor and the walls. Call it desk. And I did in the past draw some bits for these are textures for a three-dimensional desk for a different project, but the wood texture is pretty good, I think, and that might be useful here. So the back of the desk is probably not going to have any of this desk furniture on it. It's probably just going to be plain wood. We can just grab some of that, I think. We can just grab some of that. That's probably way too big. As suspected, it is far too big. And why is that? Oh no, of course not. I've made a mistake there. Let's remove that layer. For some reason in Sprite, I can't find a way to move the layers up and down. So you kind of have to just either create a new layer and copy your content onto it. There's no other way. So desk. Of course the desk's in front of both of them, isn't it? Right. So that's far too big, but we've got a sense now of something. Let's chop it down a bit. In fact, let's scale it down a bit, because that grain is probably too big. Now he's a bigger boss than that. He's going to have a bigger desk than that. Nice and wide. Right then. Now, how tall does this desk want to be? Well, how tall is this desk? Because it's going to be about the same, right? Let's see. Yeah, we can definitely get away with it being a bit smaller than we had it. So let's just chop this down a bit. That's probably big enough, although now it's much too wide a desk perhaps. So let's get rid of some either side. Then we can look at putting some detail into the desk. We are going to need to have a surface for the desk. Now the cheat for that is we just grab hold of what we've got, shove it on top here. Now, like I said, there'll be some forced perspective, but just make this a bit shinier, and by we can make that shinier just by making it lighter. We ramp its brightness up. We've got something approximating what we're probably going to want, and the depth of the desk into the room. We can cheat again and have a look at what I did before, and we're looking at around what? It's like 7 pixels. So it's about 7 pixels. Yeah. So 7 pixels tall is, about there, which doesn't look like much, but it's enough to give us some depth for the desk. And then we just give it that forced perspective by cutting some of it away. Let's drop the size of that a minute. And we can probably do it a bit like that, I think. No. We'll do that. Now, I know that a lot of people that do pixel art have got a process, and you see tutorials all the time. Um, I have to say, it's something of an awful confession. I just don't draw like that, and I don't know exactly how it is that people do draw the way that they say they do. Um, I'm never certain what's going to come out when I start drawing. I have some basic ideas of what it is I'm attempting to achieve. What I'm doing now is just getting these legs on the desk. Probably then we could probably put a curve in here. That would be interesting. But I'm going to put some shadow in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this, put that in, try to darken it up a bit. There we go. Right, and darken that up. So we've got some depth to the legs, and I'm also going to put some shadow in here. So we've got some sort of shape going on, and I'm going to do that by using some transparency, a line tool, just to give it some shape. I think that's probably high enough. I reckon about there. Yeah. Okay. And we'll use a nice curve tool, bring it to about there. Yeah. And if you can see what I've done there, just got some shading. And the top of the desk, of course, is going to be a separate piece in reality. We'll make it 2 pixels deep, so I'll add some shadow here too. I've still got this tool selected, so make that a straight line. Cool. Let's probably make this a bit lighter, a bit shinier. If we get some white and really bring the opacity down, then we can begin shading that. What do I want? I want this tool. There we go. And that's probably not right. Let's make it a bit yellower. Yeah. Okay. Groovy. Cool. Just put some more shading on this on the legs. So this leg, you want to really get some sense that it's sticking away from the whole thing. So we've got, something going on there. I'm going to want to do the same at the other end with some darkness coming in underneath here. Possibly a bit more darkness than that. Let's just beef this up a bit. Cool. That definitely looks like a desk. Now, would there be just a great big back panel like that, or would there be something else going on? I'm inclined to believe there'll be something else going on, but as yet I don't know what that is. Let's get rid of that midline. So that's what we've got so far. We're going to want some shadow under that desk, and we're going to want some more furniture. And the reason we're going to want some more furniture is you can't walk up past the midline. Let's turn that back on. So we're going to need some sort of random officey bits and bobs that would make some kind of a barrier that would prevent you from going in there. It's either that, or I do some sort of crazy oval office thing and make the back wall curved, and then it would become less of a thing. In any event, let's grab some bits of furniture. Now, I can definitely grab one of these PCs. I think let's grab this. And no, I don't want that tool. That's the wrong tool. Let's grab this tool. Okay. I just get around all this stuff. Okay. Don't really need to grab the wires because I can make those different on the other level. That's not going to be a problem. I described a little too much, I'll just get rid of it when I drop it in over here. So let's get a new layer, let's call it PC, and we'll drop stuff on it. Here we go. Now, yeah, so it's already desky already. That's good. Okay, and we can put some wires in. They'll go somewhere. Let's have them coming just underneath the desk here. That works for me. Let's get the keyboard. Grabbed a bit too much there, but again, not a problem. I can sort that out here. Mr. Big's only got one monitor. He doesn't have the responsibilities of the girl at the desk. Let's, yeah, straight down, I guess. Cool. He's probably going to have some other things on his desk. I mean, probably a Newton's cradle might be cool here, that kind of thing. Now, really, what do I want around here? I don't know. I'll think about that while I'm sorting out this floor. Now, you'll see from the floor in this level, there's a whole bunch of effects going on. This is a marble floor. I have a pub level. Sorry, there was a fly. I have a pub level, which has got a carpeted floor, but it's a sort of traditional pub carpet, which isn't appropriate here. So if I have a look at the pub level, I can look at the kind of texturing that I did, because I want to make sure that the tone or style at least is consistent between the levels. Let's go into the correct directory and let's have a look for the pub, which may in fact not be called pub. There it is, BG6. Awesome. It's a split level. It's another small level. No, there's nothing I can use there. That's somewhat disappointing. Okay. Where are we? Here we are. So let's get this level looking a bit better. Here we are, floor. Now, I don't think I got a good colour there. It probably needs to be grayer. Let's go grayer. And probably somewhere around there. Yeah, okay. All right, and then we're going to want to scumble it somewhat. We'll just use the spray can for that. And I'm going to scumble it with some blue that's a lot more colourful. And bring the lightness right down. Let's make the spray quite big. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. But then we'll add some darkness to it as well. And since this is underneath, it doesn't really matter how I do this much, because the walls cover it, the desk covers it, everything covers it. We can probably afford to get some darkness around the walls, so we'll get a darker bit, and so there we go. Because, as we all know, carpets that aren't trodden on tend to be a bit darker, and nobody walks next to a wall. Alright, and let's just do some random extra dark bits. Cool. Right, now, keeping that colour, I'm going to come off the spray and I'm going to get onto this, because we need to drop some shadow underneath this desk. In fact, let's add a desk shadow direct layer just drop that in. You need to give the idea that the desk has got some size to it, some weight that's going to be blocking out light. And light's pretty much the only paintbrush we have to give things a sense of solidity. Let's turn that midline off again. Let's have a look what we've got there. See, now that already looks like the desk has got some solidity to it. Now I don't know where the light sources are. It's not much that it matters really. It matters a little, but not spectacularly. Now the walls are looking really bare. We don't have a way in. We need to put something in the way of a door here. Now the office door, I think I'd like to see a wooden door for the office door, unlike these. You know, a big glass door here and a metal door for the lift there. But I'm thinking I'd like to see a wooden door. I'm going to have to do the same kind of indentation into the wall. We want it roughly the same height. I won't do a double door though, it'll be a single door. And then I'll do a bunch of wood panelling. Now the room's looking bare, but it's definitely looking like an office, I think. Perhaps this chap is lucky enough to have a window over here, and that window, I think, would probably look out onto something a bit like we see here, which would be nice. Maybe he could have a back window that would definitely look out onto something a bit like that, and I would go and pinch the sky from the docks level. Here's the docks level, there we go, which is in fact where that comes from. So that would be a nice tie-in. Might be able to, in fact, wouldn't it be great if he had a view of this from his office? That would be quite spectacular. He'll have to excuse the belching. Sprite is a thing. It is nice, but it is bubbly. Alright, so maybe if he has a large window or two windows, and possibly the company logo in the middle, or maybe a self-portrait. He's that kind of dude. Right then, let's have a look at something in the way of windows. We want to get on top of this whole thing. They're going to be behind the desk and the PC, but they're definitely going to be on top of the desk shadow and the walls. So, new layer, Windows. Okay, I forgot to do that. Right then, let's have a look. Window frames are generally white, right? And we're probably going to want to sort of slightly off-white them a little bit, not too much. Still very pale. And there we go. Let's position something like a window. It's a nice big window now. Office windows, yeah, really low sills, and we'll get some blinds in there as well. That'll be nice. Okay, so that's the frame, and then we're going to want something a little darker going on. Well, let's cut out an area first. Well, we'll not cut it out. We'll mask it with some black for the inside of the window, and we'll see more of the bottom frame. In fact, we'll see the interior frame, but not the top, and we won't see that side of the frame so much, and we'll see about that much of the bottom frame. Cool. Let's get rid of our dudes a minute because they're in the way. In fact, let's just move them over there. We still want them. They're good for reference. Let's just move. Wrong layer. Come on. Right then. Yeah, they're definitely good for reference. Now, we've got outside of a frame, most of the light's going to fall on there. Want some shading. We want some shading. Let's go like this. See already. There we go. Now this part is going to be lighter than the front of this sill, but the front of this sill is already too dark, too light even. So if I come like that, and then I can fill here with, no, that's not right. I'm on the wrong layer, that's why. Window, thank you. Okay, 1, 2, and let's fill that up, and then lighten the outside. That's too dark. Too dark. Okay, that, yeah. Okay, and then we can lighten the sill. That's not enough. Maybe. Let's just get that desk. Oh, look at that. Where's the PC? There it is. There's a random pixel there. Let's get rid of that random pixel. And let's make the PC invisible and the desk invisible so I can carry on with this window. Right. Window, window, window. There we go. Right. So now we have a sill and we have some depth. That may not be enough depth. Let's scrap that. That's definitely enough depth. And we can flip that and put that on the other side, you see. Now, how far away from the edge is it? That, I think, is a good distance. Let's put that desk back in and the PC. And we've got 2 windows. We don't have any blinds yet. And let's put some, oh yeah, definitely. Okay, desk PC out of the way. Let's get some shadow under those sills. We know that there needs to be some shadow there. Let's do that. That works for me. Let's turn our dudes off a second. Okay. That tells me that there's some depth there. Yeah, okay. Alright then. Desk back on. PC, yeah. Now, we can shove in. We can probably pull it straight from here. Where are we? Yeah. Just grab all of that. Now, window contents. Let's make a new layer. Yeah, that's great, but it's going to have to be scaled a little. Let's get it in there. We don't want too much of it in there, but we want it in there. We want it in there. Let's make sure we get the aspect ratio to not too adjusted, but no. Yeah. Okay, and should probably have gotten a bit more. I want the, yeah, let's get a bit more. I'm going to want the main buildings, the big buildings there, and I want them in one of the windows completely. Let's scale that down. About there is good, I think. And then we'll get them in that window. And then we can cut some bits off. Let's cut some bits off. We can see where we need to cut that off. There's actually 1 extra pixel for the frame, wasn't it? Yeah. And then we went 2 pixels in from here. Brilliant. 1, 1, 2. Cool. And now we know where the bottom is. we can just chop that out. Now you can see out that window. And that may be a bit close. There's that fly again. Perhaps I need more of that level in that window. Because it looks right now like it's directly outside of his window. That's far too close. Okay, let's do that again. We'll get more of it this time. Right, I'm going to get like that, I think. Let's scale it down. Yeah, okay. We get the main buildings in that window. Yeah, that's a shame. Okay, let's chop some of this out. One plus two. 1 plus 2. Let's chop the bottom out. Right, that's what you can see out of his window. Still possibly a bit too close. Yeah, I don't much mind though. Right, we have to add some glass in though. Window glass. So that we get the sense that that's not immediately just, you know, walk-outable to. And the way we do that is your kind of classic graphic glass effect. You're really just going to shove in something that's a bit translucent and then cut bits out of it to give it a sheen. It's really just about determining how much you want to do that. See, that's not much. Let's make that a bit. There we go. We can probably tint it slightly as well. Now, do we want to make it lighter or darker? I mean, I think we want to make it lighter. I think that's what we want to do. And the first thing that you do is, okay, we're going to chop some bits out basically, but there's going to be some shadow here, and you won't get much reflection in the shadow. Probably not that much. Actually, no, there could easily be that much. All right, let's get rid of that. You see, now you've got the sense that there's some glass there already, and there's going to be some shadow along this edge. Just going to do that, and then the same here. Yeah. I'm going to pull out a pixel on each of those just for the sake of it. Yeah. And then just going to use this fella and grab out a couple of diagonals. I'll put them straight at 45. It's not supposed to be hyper real. It's representative after all. Let's get rid of that. And we go. Let's grab another one. A bit thinner this time. Yeah, that'll do. Nice. And for the sake of continuity, I'm going to pull one out here. No, they're too far apart. Oh, perhaps not. Perhaps not. Okay. 45. Oh. 45. That's not quite continuous, but it's good enough. Nice. And another one over here. And another one over here. That wasn't good enough. Do you know what? It's fine. It's fine. So now you can tell those are windows. I think I'm going to want to put some blinds in though, and that's not going to be particularly easy to do. Actually, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay. What do blinds look like? Well, we can have the vertical blinds, which I think I favour in this case, or some horizontal blinds that come down that are sort of set inside the window somewhat. I'm gonna the problem with the the problem with the vertical blinds is there won't actually be any gap, or maybe. Okay, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to select something that's just a little darker. I'm just going to run an experiment. Okay, now, see now it's looking like bars. It's looking like bars. And let's grab something a bit lighter. You see how, unless they're significantly apart, obviously they have some shadow at the top. I don't think we can pull off vertical blinds. Instead then, we can probably pull off some cheap horizontal blinds. Let's just give that a go. Let's see what happens. Obviously I can spruce them up with some shine and what have you, but again, not really buying it. Single pixel? This is the problem with pixel art, is that drawing small things or things with fine detail, especially where their recognition is hooked up with the fine detail, it gets kind of difficult. Now, if I put this in, does that kind of indicate that it's a blind? Kind of does. Kind of does. Okay. About there. And they can be differently shaded across their length. Let's do that. Let's grab some white, bring this right down. Got the line tool, a bit lower than that. Let's just bring some shine across there. It gives you the sense that they're physical objects rather than just some lines. I'm going to put some shadow on them in a minute too. Do I buy those as blinds? I suppose at the top there shouldn't be such a gap. What happens if I do that? No, I think it's necessary. Perhaps if one's bunched up, what's going to happen then? Let's see if I just shove that up a bit. Does that one want blind like? No, it doesn't. I'm just going to stick with that for now. If anything, if it becomes obviously fixable, or I think of a better method, then I'll use it. But for now, I'm just going to put some shadow in there. Grab some shadow on this edge. Let's make that a bit lighter. Okay. Cool. And I'm going to just grab that and flip it, shove it on the other side. Actually, I should probably have another bar at the bottom, shouldn't I? They don't usually terminate in the things that are supporting them. Well, they do, but not so that you do have to see it. And you know what else? Let's get back down to the window layer, window glass layer even. Let's cut that out, because that's going to drop some shadow, isn't it? Let's just go on that. Oh no, that's better. That's definitely better. Okay. Blind. Let's flip that. Drag it out over here. Now, yeah. Okay, and let's get back to the window glass and just cut out the bit that we didn't want. Which is all the way down to there. Boom, and it's gone. Okay, we've definitely got some windows there. So we need a door. Actually, before we do, let's get back to the window. Window. I should show some shadow here. There's some depth lacking. Some real depth lacking here. Yeah. Okay. It just makes it pop a little bit. Right. You know what? Let's save that for now. And come back and do some more another day. Let's call it Office. And we'll save it as an ASE because we'll want to maintain the layers, etc. Okay, well, goodbye for now, and we'll do some more another day.